Before I actually get into the topic for today's 5-minute summation, I wanted to take just a moment to express my concern for Mr. Dan Mongino. I don't normally talk about people that I pay attention to, whether on the media or wherever. I try to keep that out of what I'm doing because I intend for what I'm doing to be timeless. But I have heard that Mr. Bongino is dealing with an issue with a tumor in his neck. Not entirely clear what's going on there, but until he finds out, I'm going to pray that what's going on is not, a serious problem. Obviously, I would do that as a rule for just about anybody, but when it's people that I have, I use as resources and so forth, obviously I'm interested in definitely doing that for them. Now, I wanted to talk today about a blog post that I did, and basically it was about the idea that America is a colonizing entity and or an empire builder, and this is again based on some of Dr. Noam Chomsky's work in his book Understanding Power, the Indispensable Chomsky. And I just kind of wanted to cover a couple of ideas that I don't think people really very well understand. I want to start by talking about the fact that America was born as a colony. You can't dispute that. That's definitely true. And there were some people who did bad things, and there were some parts of the various governments that were involved, France, England, Spain, and others, that probably did things that they shouldn't have done. And I also want to say that I know that there are Native Americans who find themselves in states that they probably shouldn't be in, even today, as a result of some of the activities that occurred during that time. Well, typically, the stuff I'm talking about is after the Revolutionary War. But I wanted to point out that that's true. That having been said, and a couple of small sort of colonization type things where Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam, you could argue, and American Samoa are concerned, and some others. I'm not saying that's all, but other than a few small things of that sort, and I'm not trying to excuse them because they're small, I'm just saying that they were early on, and whether they're, whether you look at them and go, oh, that's totally reasonable, you say, they really shouldn't have done that. I'm not really willing to argue that at this point, but what I'm saying is we can sort of skip forward to the present and even sort of earlier on. So the 70s, 80s, and 90s are an example, and we can see how the United States has acted when dealing with both allies and enemies. And one of the things that you can see, okay, look, let me kind of full disclosure here and sort of preface some of the things that I'm saying by saying I spent, as I've said, a couple years in Korea. I was there 85, 86. I was there 89, 90. And let me just tell you something. If you were a Korean national, you had virtually nothing to worry about where American servicemen were concerned. You might get in an argument or a fight with them, but they really had no sway over your life, and the chances were that if anybody got in trouble as a result of them dealing with you, it was them, not you. Okay? And this is an important thing. Why is it important? Well, it's important. And by the way, even if you went on American military bases, if you did something dumb, the chances are pretty good that you weren't going to get in serious trouble as a result of it. Okay? On the other hand, Korean or American military people who decided to go into, say, downtown Songtan outside of Osan Air Base where I was stationed and get drunk and stupid were likely to find themselves in a jail cell, and the base commander or whatever would have to get them bailed out if he could and get them put back into his little world where they could be dealt with. Now, as a result of the quote, occupation of Korea by American forces, exactly how many colonies are there in Korea? Well, the answer to that, obviously, is none. There are people who live there, who work on the military bases. There are people who visit from the United States, who come to learn, who come to teach, who come to work. And those people are there essentially at the pleasure of the Korean government. If the Korean government says it's time for them to leave, they leave. If they do something illegal, they either go to jail or they end up being reported to U.S. consulates or whatever, where they can be repatriated to the United States and potentially punished inside the United States. Okay, so compare that. I don't have a lot of time. So compare that to the former Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, to the North Korea, to Iran, right? And you'll see that how they treat people coming into their country and how they treat people who are within the confines of their group was totally different. And further, yes, there was colonization. Ask Ukraine whether or not there was colonization. Pretty sure you'll get an answer on that, and you won't necessarily like it. Okay? My point here is really simple. It is, you can say that America is a colonizing entity. You can say that America is a empire-building entity. But the reality is, if you look at how much sway anybody but the government of the United States holds over those places, you're going to find it isn't a lot. And this is pretty much where I want to end up. You can call America a colonizer, you can call them an empire-building entity, but the reality is, when you really look at things, those arguments are very hard to make, particularly when you look at other countries and other entities like the USSR, like North Korea, like Iran, okay, who try to waltz into places and take over, and their intent is not good. Okay, so that is the end of my little 5-minute summation for the 24th of September 2020, and it is Thursday today, and I should have said this early on, but I kind of got caught up in what I was talking about. Again, let's hope we hear good things about Dan Bongino, in the very least that they're able to figure out what's up and deal with it. But you, in the meantime, have a good day. And again, hopefully we'll see the end of this rain in my little region soon. And hopefully the guys who are dealing with the tropical storms will have a little relief from that in the course of time. Again, have a good day. Have a good Thursday. Hopefully the remainder of your week will go well. And hopefully we will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more content from me of various kinds, you can go a number of places. One of those places is my blog, which is blogs.kpschubert.com. I have a Twitter, a Parler, and a Minds.com account, and my handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That is @kpschubert. You can also see my Facebook page, which is Kurt's Religion and Politics. I also have a YouTube account and a Rumble account, and have a channel on each of those. Again, it's the Kurt's Religion and Politics channel. And finally, if you want to support me, you can go to Patreon, and you can find me under Kurt's Religion and Politics there as well. Thanks again for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.